With inflation running at its highest rate for decades and tax and energy price rises on their way, people are facing a cost of living crisis. Joined now by the retail analyst Kate Hardcastle. Hi, Kate. Thanks for joining us on the programme this morning. Food prices, let's start there. How bad is it?
It's really significant. I think the fact is that prices are rising on some of the most important things in every household, particularly food and fuel. And we do know that there are families out there making decisions about should they afford the heating, should they afford to have one square meal a day. It's decisions that families shouldn't be made or forced to situations they shouldn't be forced to be in. And I think we've got to get realistic about the fact that when we hear about a 5% increase inflation-wise, it doesn't really represent or perhaps give true fact on what the scenario is for many families. Jack Monroe, who is a celebrity chef, gave some real clear indications in an article yesterday where she took the average price of essentials like baked beans, stock cubes, etc., and showed that actually there had been up to 100% increase in a lot of these prices. So what we use is a retail price index, which is across 700 items to try and monitor these things, is a little bit dated and antiquated and includes things that perhaps they're not relevant to today's families. We have to make sure that the help that's out there is provided for the families, but we also have to push back to see how we can do things just better generally when we're living through crises of mental health, fuel crisis and food crisis on the weekly shop, isolation crises, etc. There's too much that needs to be sorted out for families that have been affected by too many elements.
Okay, what about energy prices? How bad will that get?
Significant. A lot of people have said that they expect to see the prices increase throughout. It depends whether you're on a fixed rate contract or you've been able to you've moved supplier recently, which a lot of people were forced into. I think the fact is that we're seeing these escalating costs, and we know that we've got to make sure that the families understand what the weekly cost is going to be. It's a fluctuation that causes the difficulty with fuel. And we know this time of year is particularly when weather can be incredibly challenging for families, and they need to make sure they're doing the right thing. We need our fuel companies to stand up. We need them to understand and create opportunities for people to be able to reach them and talk to them about this. First and foremost, if you're a customer that's struggling, you shouldn't be afraid to reach out to the companies. But at the same time, we need those fuel companies to have, for instance, phone lines that can be accessible, people on those phone lines that are understanding. We read the other day about a person that had tried to contact their fuel provider about needing to organise a payment plan just so they could make sure they could afford fuel right now, and eventually reached their international call centre where there was really no empathy or sympathy as to what was going to happen for that future. It's really scary times. So at this point, I must obviously remind people that there are opportunities to contact people like Citizens Advice and Step UK, brilliant organisations that perhaps might be able to help you with what benefits there are or what you can do right now. But this is a really frightening time for so many families, Kay.
Okay, it's good to talk to you, Kate. Thank you. Let's bring